Hi, welcome to Milgat Farms. Today we're moving cattle to this section right here that I forgot to mow yesterday. So I can't make hay out of it. And as a result, I need to get it down. It would be nice if it went to seed, no problems there. But I'm gonna go ahead and let the cows have it. They'll eat it down and we'll get it next time we make hay later in the year. Last week, Gabriel and I were doing some work over by the barn when he heard the crack and he looked over and that big hickory tree right there landed on that hickory tree, which landed on the fence. And that for sure, woo, my hat almost went off. And that for sure is gonna take about a week to get picked up because that thing is absolutely huge. Hickory in the stove smells like heaven, that's for sure. We're gonna save some of the bark and we're gonna use it for making our smoked maple syrup. It is absolutely delicious. What's wrong, Porter? Porter! What, Porter? What's wrong, buddy? Everybody thinks something's up. Like, you guys think you're gonna get some fresh grass? Well, the answer is yes. Are you ready? Are you guys ready? Go. Come on. All right, that's not very fast, Porter. Don't let Neko run you over. Neko. Hi, Daisy. Hi, Butterfly. Come on, big steer. What's up, big girl? Hi, Daisy. How are you, buddy? Go get him. I don't know any better sound than to hear that right there. They're grabbing that grass and they're gonna spur some growth too by doing that. I'm gonna go turn that wire on because I don't want them going anywhere. The wire's connected. A couple days from now, that's all gonna be down to the ground. I'm not really concerned if they eat it all the way down to the ground. What I'm after is getting the weeds out of there. So once they've done their job, I'll come back in, mow it all down, and we'll get to make some hay later in the season. Have you ever used a square baler? These things are just, they're nice, no doubt about it. But good heavens, they rock that tractor. There's a plunger up inside of there that sends the hay like that direction. So the whole time I'm in the tractor is doing this number, swaying back and forth as I'm driving forward. It's really weird. I much prefer my round baler. It's super smooth, that's for certain. That's the hay rake right there. You can tell I got a couple extra different colored wheels because last year I bent a couple of wheels. What a nightmare that turned out to be. I was able to get my hay finished, but it wasn't pretty, that's for sure. There's a lot going on the farm today and this week as well. The big project for this week is getting the hay up. That's a me. I cut most of the rest of our farm. Of course, I left this out, and that was a big mistake. But anyway, they're going to take care of this. But I'm going to go ahead and ted later today, probably around 10 o'clock. It's not quite 10 right now. I still have to feed the animals. But as soon as I'm done feeding the animals, I'm going to hook up the tedder and ted. I'll show that to you a little bit. But that's going to be, just a few minutes because I need to still do the ducks. And I got to do the animals in the barn too. This is our cow calves. Now, we don't have any calves in here right now, but her and the two black ones down there are ready to give birth, as is Butterfly. These two are probably gonna come in late July or August. Butterfly's due the first or second week of September. Now that brown one down there, that's Neko, that's Porter. One of these two is the bull. I think it's that one over there. I think he's the bull. This might be, I can't really tell. They're both steers, or they're both males, let me say that. And there's the red one down there, he's a male too. Those are our beef cows that we're gonna sell direct to consumers. So if you're looking for some beef, we sell it by the quarter, half, or even the whole. Now I need to go feed the chickens and the ducks and all that. And then after that, I'm gonna hook up the tractor and we're gonna ted the hay, which is really cool. The garden's coming along quite well. Come that way. Gobble, gobble. Well, they seem to like the food pretty well. There's Butterfly. Butterfly's already full, and Porter's already full too. Neko, your turn. You see the killdeer? She's acting like she's hurting. Somewhere around here are her eggs. I don't want to step on them. Huh. Where are they, girl? There they are. That's her eggs right there. She's trying to get me away by tricking me, or trying to trick me like she's hurt. She's not hurt. Hooking this unit up is pretty easy. Doesn't require a lot. A little bit of accuracy when it comes to getting into space, but come on, get up in there, silly goose. There we go. There, that's in. This has to get tied off. There's that. All right, here's a quick overview about the tedder and what it does. It's a really nifty piece of equipment. It's PTO driven, which means that shaft up there is how it's powered. There's a gearbox in here, and these are what we call baskets. The baskets turn, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain it. One turns this way and one turns this way. So one turns clockwise, the other one turns counterclockwise, and it takes the hay and flips it up into the air and then drops it back down on the ground. So what that's gonna do to the hay is it's gonna grab it, roll it up in the air, lay it on its back or the other side so it can dry better. Let me show you what I mean. So made an adjustment so it's just barely touching the grass, that way we can flip it. Sometimes getting on the hills can be a little sketchy, so I like to go at a little slower speed. Got this whole pasture here to do, and then there's one up on the hill behind me. All in all, I'm going to be at this for probably the next 3 to 4 hours, so I'm going to come back to you later. Never made hay before, you're probably asking yourself, what in the world is he doing? We call it tedding, at least that's what I call it. I don't know what everybody else calls it, but I call it tedding. And that's when we just flip the hay so it can dry a little bit better. My hay making process is fairly simple. It does take 3 or 4 days to make it work. We do have we'll call it a crimper. Maybe that's what they are, the rollers that are in my cutter. So what happens when you initially cut your hay, it's crimped by going through the big rollers. What that crimping does is it enables the grass, or it breaks the grass and the stalks so it can dry faster. What I'm looking for on the day of mowing is just getting it all down. I never plan to ted the same day that I'm mowing. Mainly because depends on when I start really. If I started at 6 o'clock in the morning, I could ted it around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Not that I want to, because we have the crimper or the rollers on our cutter, it just starts the process of drying, and what Teddy's going to do is flip it upside down, and whatever's down below, it's going to get up into the sun, and it's going to dry as well. So what I'm looking for on day 1 is to cut it, let it lay. It's very unusual for me to be able to cut it and ted it the same day. Now if it was super, super hot and windy, yeah, I probably could do it. But it's not always that way. So I'll let it sit for that overnight, and as soon as the dew comes off, then I'll start tedding. And this morning that was around 10:30. So I started tedding about 10:30, and Not anywhere close to done. What's interesting about tedding is that you can do 2 rows at once. That means for every row that you cut, you can bring 2 rows or ted 2 rows at the same time. Same thing is happening when you do the raking. And I'll be doing the raking maybe tomorrow morning after the dew, if I'm lucky. If all this is dry, then I'm hoping to bale it tomorrow and get it up by Thursday. Typically, it takes 3 days. 1 day to cut, 1 day to dry, 1 day to rake and bale. Now, you can shorten that a little bit by different types and different styles of cutters. My cutter has a crimper, which could shorten it, but our temperatures here are pretty cool. So with them being so cool, it doesn't always dry fast. Now, the fact that we've got a little breeze today, this may dry really quickly. And if it does, I can get on it tomorrow, rake it, and then begin to bale it. I also don't like to put my fresh bales in the barn. So I'd love to have a day for when they can just sit out and they can stay outdoors and cool down a little bit. Because believe it or not, it gets warm. It really does. We test all of our hay before we put it in the barn. Every single bale is tested multiple times with a moisture meter and a temperature probe, both in the same tool. I'll show that to you in a couple of days. But we'll test them just so we can make sure that we don't have any hot bales or moist bales, both of which can cause spontaneous combustion, which is a bad thing. That's when you get a fire and your barn can burn down. All right, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and I'm going to continue tedding. All right, I'm down here near the farm stand. I just got back on the property. I finished my neighbors, and I've got the unit. You can see it's folded up. I'm going to show you a couple things that I look for when I get back on the property, because right now the tedding is done. So the hay work for today, that's it. But you don't want to leave your equipment, or I don't want to leave my equipment without checking it over to make sure I don't have any problems. And let me show you one that I found. I think this thing is really neat how it can fold itself up and get into gates. What I look for when I'm done tedding are my spring or my little teeth right here. You can see that one's in pretty good shape. I don't see any others that are causing any problems on this side. Everything is right where it needs to be. Now you can also tell, you can see how it's spun around, right? So when this thing is turning and it hits a rock, this will actually spring back and it won't typically break. That doesn't mean it's never gonna break, because I broke one today. Let me show it to you. All right, you can see this one right here. That's a you see that one right there? It's broken, and what's interesting is how the end of it has caught it and kept it from going off that direction. I've got to put another one on, and I've got them up at the barn. I'm probably gonna go do that now. I'm gonna get some lunch. These things are not universal, meaning I can't just go down to the co-op and get another one. I had to order them, and I ordered a big old box. So as you can see, some black ones that are on here, that's original to the equipment. The green ones, that's just what color I got, and that's what's gonna fit on here. And you look around, I got a few black ones left, but for the most part, I pretty much changed them all out. And the reason I changed them out is there's rocks you simply cannot see, and when you go over them, it just smacks it pretty hard, and that's it. The time is about 1:22. I'm going to have some lunch. Now, this doesn't end my day, that's for sure. This ends my day of tedding. Now the grass or the hay is gonna lay up, it's gonna dry, and then tomorrow, about the same time, around 9 or 10 o'clock, I'm gonna rake it. Once I've got it all raked, then I'm gonna bale it, and then it's a mad dash to get it in the barn. Now, I say mad dash, I don't think it's gonna rain, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna leave that hay out overnight so it'll cool down a little bit. Then I'll put it in the barn the next day. So at this point in the day, I'm going to have lunch. It's a late lunch for me, but it's a lot earlier than yesterday because I didn't have lunch until about 4:30 yesterday. And you know what? I didn't have breakfast either. So it was definitely a long day. Right now, I'm gonna go up and have lunch, and then round 2 for the afternoon is gonna be some work in the garden, and I'm not really sure what else. I'd like to get on the skid steer and do some brush hogging with it. We bought a brush hog for the skid steer. I've used it a couple of times. It's really neat. I can't wait to get in there and give it a half a day on it. That would be a lot of fun. Right now, I want to say thanks a lot for watching our videos. It means a lot that you take time out of your day to watch what we're doing here in the middle of nowhere, convenience of nothing. It really does. We are grateful that you take time out of your day to watch our video. It's really special to be able to share what God's done for us with you. Do consider giving us that thumbs up. Love to hear from you in the comments. Whenever you give us a thumbs up, and you say something in the comments, I think YouTube likes to see that. And then our videos get pushed out and more people can learn about the crazy things we do here on the farm. So thanks a lot for watching. Again, do consider giving us that thumbs up. And until next time, God bless you.